remember my childhood. I wasn't abused, but I was terribly neglected. And when I was a teenager, I was a throwaway. And I can remember those scary times. I could understand, you know, how much these children need a safe place. When I went to the Department of Children and Families and inquired how many reported cases of abuse and neglect were made in a year's time, I was appalled. And I was told that, well, if we don't have anywhere to put them, we leave them. So that's when I thought something needs to be done about this situation.
It took us several years to really get ourselves organized and to start raising the money. We had a dream, we had a vision.
We started raising money in 1985, and we opened the doors in 1989.
It was a grassroots effort initially at Hibiscus Center, and concerned people came together, and from there I could describe it as a snowball rolling downhill.
We started out from nothing, from a group of people who just determined there was a need.
That great need for a safe place for children. At that time, we were only housing 12 children, 6 boys and 6 girls, but we soon grew.
We had such tremendous community support. We had the Treasure Coast builders come in and volunteer services. We had the land donated to us. We had a general contractor say, I'll contract it for free. So it just was a tremendous community endeavor to pull all the forces together.
When children come to the shelter, they won't look you in the eye. They always look down at the ground. They're used to being ignored, and it's always their fault. And in 3 or 4 months, hopefully when they leave, they can look you in the eye and they talk to you, and they found a sense of worth to themselves, so they're not going to just be kicked around. I mean, they understand that they are important and they have some value. And I think when that started to happen, I think that's when we really decided that, you know, we were onto something good.
I got to see the real hands-on program in action, and I don't think there's not too many things that have moved me as much as what I saw there.
You know how an 18-month-old is smiley usually, and this child didn't do anything, and all of a sudden, just a few months later, to see him almost knock you over on his tyke bike, that was just an incredible experience.
In Tallahassee, all we see are the numbers. And when we're able to walk through the Hibiscus Children's Center, you actually see the child. You see the face behind the statistic. And that's what makes all the difference in the world to me.
They learn that people will love them and will stand up for them, and it's a whole new experience for them. When the children gave me a surprise birthday party, they were so proud of the fact that they made the dinner and served it, and they were ready to give to me when they had so little of their own. This little girl came up and said, I'm going to a foster home tomorrow, and I didn't have time to shop, but I'd like you to have my teddy bear. It was probably the only one she ever had in her life.
The shelter is institutional out of just plain need, because you have so many children there and you don't want to turn children away. So the facility can house up to 44 kids, and when you have that many children, you have to run it very much like a camp. It's a little less personal.
We envisioned a temporary shelter where children could then be reunited with rehabilitated families or go on to be adopted or foster families or whatever. And what we've seen over the years is that has not come about. Our shelter, in reality, has really become a long-term residence. When you have children there for 2 or 3 years, it is very difficult for those children.
We turn away over 100 children every year.
We've had to turn away child after child, and that shouldn't happen to anybody.
Those 100 children that are being turned away, will be able to come to the shelter, and from the shelter, go to the village, and we won't have to turn anybody away.
I think the new concept of the village is going to be a real advance in where we're moving in dealing with children who have been abused and neglected.
The village is going to be a completely different concept. What we're going to do is to provide them not only the physical well-being that they need, but it's also the mental well-being that's so important as well.
What I see at the Hibiscus Center happening is that from the shelter that I've been to the village that I see in the future is going to be just that one more step of us taking care of our children and transitioning them into the next phase of their lives.
The idea behind the village was to make it much more like a home.
They'll be able to get up and fix a simple peanut butter sandwich without having to ask permission for it, with a whole bunch of rules attached to it.
The difference between the shelter now and what we hope to have in the village is we'll have a more family-like setting. We'll have lower amounts of people in each individual unit. There are 4-bedroom units with a kitchen, and they're very much a house with a front porch and a back porch. We put them around the center campus area so that they can have a playground. More like living in a small subdivision than it is living in an institution.
The idea is that we are doing a continuum, and if they come to the shelter, then to the village, and then hopefully to a loving family. That's the ultimate goal.
Our goal for the capital campaign for the village is $5 million. I know that the shelter was built by community donations in the same way that the caring, loving people came out to support that project, that the people are going to come out and support the village as well. We need to appeal to the community in general to get involved in any way you can. We need volunteers, we need endowments, we need underwriters.
There has been a change in philosophy from a government-controlled or government mentality-run system of child care protection. And no longer do we think that Washington or Tallahassee knows best, but what we now know is that those organizations that are run at the local level with the community-based support, the citizen initiatives, are the ones that protect our children best.
It takes all of us to work together. We can't wait for the other person. We're responsible for children. We can't expect the children to lobby for themselves, raise money for themselves, protect themselves. They're children, and they're our future.
When you walk through the Hibiscus Children's Center, it's the sparkle in that child's eye that really gets your attention.
A real opportunity to help change the future is to take care of these kids so that they can go on and become productive citizens, and we don't wind up with this continual cycle of abuse we have.
If the public knew what was out there for children, they would jump on board immediately and they would get involved.
They will make a difference in many, many children's lives. And that's far more valuable than anything you could do.
Florida's foster care system is failing. Hibiscus Children's Center is turning the corner on that, making sure that these children have every opportunity to succeed in life.
The village will just emphasize more of a home community for them. It's going to make them feel more normal, more accepted, just more comfortable in themselves.
It's going to depend on the community, the individual person to step up to the plate and really say, I'm going to make a difference in the life of one child. I'm going to say, I will be there for that child. That baby is the answer. If we can help that child, prevent that child from living an incredibly bad life, if we can work to save that child, we have been successful.